Everything over there on that bank, that's Russia. I don't know how to get in. Norway's oldest mountain. I'd like to rename this chapel after me. The Barents Sea, the Arctic Ocean. The Germans just didn't have time to destroy this. Good morning from Kirkenes. It's the final full day in Norway. Today's drive is a drive that I've been looking forward to maybe the most out of any drive on this whole trip. Lo, these many months. This is Russia, this is Finland, this is a little bit of Norway. So we're here in Kirkenes. We're going to drive this little obscure road all the way to the Russian border, and then the road turns north and follows this river, which is the border, right up to this little settlement where nobody lives called Grense Jakobselv. I'm excited. It's a sunny day. I can't believe we're going this close to the Russian border to drive up to what I think is one of Norway's most crazy and obscure and distant roads. So let's go. The first part of today's drive, we're starting to see a lot of the evergreen trees that mark the beginning of the great taiga, the great Russian taiga. So this is the beginning of the Norwegian taiga, which you don't usually consider, but it does exist. This is actually not the end of the drive. We got a ways to go, but the road does kind of glance off the border here. Here you go. Norway is in the EU, but it doesn't use the euro, but it's in the Schengen. I don't know how it works. This is the end of the Schengen border, so we can't go into Russia, of course. You have the same thing in Norwegian, border crossing only, English and Russian. Very exciting. This is the border, and everybody's put their little stickers all over this sign. I don't have any stickers. Should I get me a T1D Wanderer sticker? Anyway, this is the border, apparently. I can't go much further than this gate, but here we go. I see a Norway flag there, but I guess on the other side somewhere is a Russian flag. This is just sort of a taste of things to come, kind of. This is the only border crossing area we're actually be on today's drive. The road, which is over here, that goes to Grense Jakobselv, that's just a road through Norway, and then it hits the border, but it goes north along the border, but there's no border crossing. The Russian bear. I found him. So the Russian border's right over there. This is right inside the Norwegian border, right inside Norway. And the first thing you see here is the classic set of Norwegian bathrooms, the free highway bathrooms, as if to remind Russia and the world, look how we provide for people. Look how decent and modern we are. So let's go see exactly what kind of bathroom Norway has given the Russian visitors and, yes, the entire Asian part of the world that comes over this far to, what am I talking about? Let's just go see the bathroom. Well, typical Norwegian highway bathroom. But it's here. Wonder if they have one on the Russian side. Maybe they do. I don't know. I can't go. Well, I can't go to Russia, but I can go in Norway. Let's go. I must say the end of Norway is very lovely, especially today when this fjord here is just kind of a deep blue. reflecting the sky. It's great on this rickety little road where the speed limit is 80 kilometers per hour. I'm going less than 60 just because I'm enjoying it and because the road is so bumpy and windy. And we're not even at the strangest part of it yet. If you can make out what this says, Norges eldste fjell, this is Norway's oldest mountain. And it's right over here, 2.9 billion years old. At its prettiest, I would say, today. Okay, we're getting very close to the border again, where the road turns and follows the border, and this sign explains it all. It is prohibited to cross the border by land, water, and air, to make contact across the border. It is prohibited to make offending actions towards or across the border, even if nobody's watching. To remove, damage, or destroy the border marks, fair enough. It is prohibited to photograph Russian military personnel and equipment in an aggressive or provocative manner. Just doing so kind of idly maybe is okay. If I happen to see any Russian military personnel or equipment, I'll see if I can photograph them. What's interesting about this sign is it used to say something a little bit different. And if you go over here, at some time in the past, it was prohibited to photograph Russian military personnel and equipment on Russian territory. It is also prohibited to use telephoto lenses over 200 millimeters and or tripod. There's kind of an interesting sense of touchy international things going on here in Grense Jakobselv. For example, up on this mountain, which is in Norway, there's some big weird panel, and I don't know what it is, but I bet it's something. Grense means border. Jakobselv means Jakob's River, like Jacob's River. In Russian and Finnish, and I think Sami languages, the river's name is something like Pasvik. Fishing in the Pasvik River upstream the dam at Barents Sea is only allowed for Norwegian citizens. Anyway, we're about to hit the part of the road where it turns north and actually starts following the border, and then we're going to soon be at the Arctic Ocean. The road turns to gravel, and soon you come around a curve and then you see it ahead. The humble little river with a huge significance. And here it is. The road comes in like this and the river's right here. This is the border. This river runs to the Arctic Ocean. So everything over there on that bank, that's Russia. The border is, I guess, the center of the river, or the river is the border. So all these mountains here and all these trees is Big Mother Russia. All the stuff over here is good old Norway. And again, there's some weird things up on the mountain. Conduct at the border. Can't even throw things like rocks over the border. All right, I won't. Let's see. And once again, just like at the airport in Kirkenes yesterday, we have the yellow pillar with the black top, that's Norway. And across the river, the red and green one, which is Russia. So when you see those, you know where you are. This point of the road is so far east that all of Sweden and virtually 99.9% of Finland is to the west from here. And Russia's right there. Okay, about 10 more kilometers to go down the end of this road to the Arctic Ocean and to the end of the road, the true end of the road. This sign explains that people lived here about 10,000 years ago. Now it says if you look on the Russian side, you can see electric barbed wire fence, which was put up all along the border from the Soviet Union times. Also, interestingly, on both sides of the river, you find watchtowers. Here, the soldiers sit with powerful binoculars and make sure the border agreements are complied with. Sit, present tense. Not they used to sit or whatever. They sit. There's a watchtower right now. We could be being watched right now. You could be being watched. They're saying, hey, there's a guy down there with a selfie stick and a camera. What's he doing? All right, we're just a little bit away from the Arctic Ocean here, but right here is a little cabin that was built in the 1860s, I think. And it was built for clergymen who happened to be passing through this area, as one would, I suppose. But it was never used for that. It was all actually used for Norwegian soldiers and then Russian soldiers and German soldiers. I don't know if there's any way to get in or see in. Would be fun to go in. Let's see. I see a giant padlock. Wooden chest with an axe on it. That's pretty cool as far as decoration goes. I'm glad that it survived the war somehow. I don't know why this wasn't destroyed. I guess the Soviets came over here, right over there, to liberate this part of Norway first. I guess the Germans just didn't have time to destroy this, maybe. Too bad I can't get in. And that little gray building up there, I think it was the old customs station for the old border crossing. A dilapidated wooden shack from the 1800s. And I wonder what we can see. Can we get in? Just a bunch of old discarded glass remnants and wood and iron and stuff. Try to not step on any rusty nails or anything. Look at all these old bottles. What is this? Jakobselv 35. I don't know how old this stuff is, but could be a few decades. Oh, come on. That looked like it was a warm blanket at one time in its day. Decent old furniture. You could restore some of this furniture. So that was a small bed, a couple of tables. Wow. What an awesome little wooden shack from the 1800s. Something that survived the war. Because as a sign over there points out, Kirkenes was the first town to be liberated by the Soviets in World War II, but the people right here were the first people on Norwegian soil to welcome the Soviet army, as the sign said. So it's a very, very historic place, and how could you get more picturesque than that? And now, perhaps the most notable structure on this little road, the chapel. One of Norway's most beautiful chapels, way up out here where no one ever visits it because nobody ever comes here. This is King Oscar II's chapel, in view of the Arctic Ocean, the Barents Sea. So as I understand it, this chapel was built in 1869, and in 1873, King Oscar II, on the same trip where he climbed up Nordkapp, he also came here to visit this chapel, which was named something else. And he liked it and everything. It was a very important chapel because it's such a Norwegian thing. This is Norway, and that's Russia. And while he was here, the king said, I'd like to rename this chapel after me. So they did, of course. And here we go, King Oscar II's chapel. I wonder if it's open. This is the sort of thing that should always be open. There's a lock on the door. Damn. I don't know if it's used for services or anything. I guess it's more of a symbolic church, but there must be something inside. Oh, it really is a gorgeous church. It's one of the nicest churches I've seen, and it's just way up here in the middle of nowhere. I mean, nowhere. What I didn't know is that the chapel has a little cemetery. I don't know how to get in, so I'm just gonna get in. 1916 to 1930, 14 years old. Thomas Everson, bye. No, Thomas Everson, yeah. 1941 to 1943. Is that a casualty of the war? 2 years and 4 months old. Jakobselv. I guess everybody who lives on this part of the road, since I've been driving on this road, may well get buried here. Trygve Adolf Winter. Imagine being named Adolf. Wow, what an amazing little cemetery here. No Larsons. Maybe I can be the first. Shouldn't have had all that pizza for dinner last night. Oh. The last little piece of road goes to the end. The farthest place in Norway by road from Oslo. The end of Scandinavia. Okay, this is it. The crazy and wild and very windy edge of the Barents Sea, the Arctic Ocean, the Varanger Fjord. It all stops here. Norway ends here, Russia's right over there. And this is the little end of the road in the Grense Jakobselv area. We made it all the way here. The terrain is rocky. The rocks are all kind of soft and round because of the wind and everything. The sea looks pretty angry, pretty deep, pretty intense. It's been a great drive though. Great drive to one of my favorite destinations that I thought was going to come on this trip. One of the best drives, one of the most interesting places in Norway. Maybe the most obscure road, about 30 kilometers down this weird dead-end road. What a great drive! The wind is going to blow me into the ocean. That's how I'll end up in that cemetery. Strangely enough, there are other people here. There's like 4 or 5 other cars here. Despite me seeing nobody on the road on the way up. And why would anybody come here? In front of us lies the Varanger Fjord and the Barents Sea. This sea area is feared for its severe storms. I can attest to that, even here on a probably relatively calm and sunny day. Oh, I've just sat in the car for 20 minutes eating leftover pizza from last night and watching these amazing waves crashing against the shore here of the Arctic Ocean. And I think I saw something swimming by, like a seal or something. I have to check my video and see what it looks like. Wow, what a place. Okay, well that's the end of the road here. Now it's just 60 kilometers back to Kirkenes, back along the same roads, along the Russian border. Thanks for driving up here with me. This was a great capper to my time in Norway. The next drive, after I go back to Kirkenes, is into Finland tomorrow. All new language, maybe all new road signs. I don't know, I gotta research that tonight. But thanks for coming to Grense Jakobselv with me.